Oh, no intro needed. The Broncos are playoff bound. Let's go.
It's time, Broncos country. It's time.
We're gonna open up the Breckenridge Distillery bourbon whiskeys that we've been holding on to all season long for this moment right here. Holy crap, what a game. Come on.
Wow. And welcome in Broncos country. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, guys, leave your comments, leave your questions. The Denver Broncos playoff bound for the first time since 2015. And Jared, I don't know what else to do except to have a drink. What about you?
Let's open these bad boys up. And as we go on through this episode, more people will be joining us. Kevin is on his way home from the game.
Spotty's on his way home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone watching in special places. I gotta open this bad boy up. Hold on.
I'm not pouring without you, Jared. Victor, thank you so much. Welcome to the show. Long-time watcher. We know you, Victor, have been here for a really long time, and this is the first time you get to enjoy a playoff game with us. Absolutely. Jeremy, as you couldn't have said it better myself, it is about time, and it is about time to get this thing started. Jared, let's pour.
Let's have some of this.
Absolutely. We are cracking into our Broncos country limited edition blend from Breckenridge Bourbon tonight, guys. It is a fantastic night to be a Broncos fan. 10-7 on the season, officially locked up that 7th seed in the playoffs. And man alive, 38-0 over the Chiefs. Jared, here's to us.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to the Broncos. Cheers to Broncos country.
All the
long time
Broncos
coming.
Country.
Man.
Ooh, that's smooth. Oh, it's smooth like victory, Jared. It's smooth like a 38-0 win over the Chiefs backups. And Jared, you and I both predicted a win today. Spotty also predicted a win on the pregame podcast, but none of us foresaw the ass kicking that we just saw.
Yeah, no, I mean, I mentioned that we were going to win it handedly. I did not expect a shutout.
Yeah.
I didn't expect a shutout of the Kansas City Chiefs backups. I did not expect 38 points. I did not expect Bo Nix going 26 for 29, 3 incompletions all game, 4
breaking
touchdowns,
the Broncos,
152.
Breaking the franchise record for completion percentage in a single game, breaking Peyton Manning's franchise record, so no less.
Breaking the touchdowns at home record
for a rookie.
For rookies.
Yep.
Just amazing job. Just all around, just did a really good job. I mean, we had rushing yards all over the place. We had, I don't know, it was just a good game. I felt good about it. We're going to the playoffs. Yes, we're playing the Bills next week. Join us on Tuesday because we'll talk in depth. Give us some time to come off this high that we're on right now. And I know you guys are on the high as well with us. But once we come down from the high, we'll be ready to play the Bills. Don't know when that game's going to be, but we'll be here for you. And and honestly, here at Orange Weekly, look, we came around after the Super Bowl victory. We started Orange Weekly, and I'm going to wait for that sentimental speech once Kevin comes on because I got a lot of things for him as one of the co-founders here, and just an amazing game. Broncos country? What are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling right now? You guys are excited, obviously. Anthony, cheers to the Denver Broncos. Cheers to all of us that thought Courtland Sutton getting his bonus. All the things are good right now in Broncos country. We are so happy to be here right now.
Absolutely. And man, I want to look up. I want to do a little looking up as I make this point. But Broncos country, we've got a guy. We have got a guy in Bo Nix, and it is. The carousel is broken. The wheel is broken. Yes. Sean Payton has his guy. Who knows if we're going to get a Drew Brees type of career out of Bo Nix or what his trajectory is going to be. But I think we have sufficiently answered the question as to whether the Broncos have a guy and then some, Jared.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we answered the question. We have our guy. We now have the franchise that we could build around for the long term, not just the short term. And we're just there for it. Like I'm so happy that we're here. Obviously, we had 3 games to do it, a couple rough games, but we're building and we're learning at every step of the way. And when you have a guy like Bo Nix back there who's just a student of the game, you can't be happier with where we are right now as a Broncos team. We're heading to the playoffs for the first time in 8. I don't know how many times I got to say it, but like For the first time in 9 years, we're heading to the playoffs. And as noted during our halftime hash, the last time we made the playoffs, we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So...
Right. Right. Yeah. And oh man, it's Betty, I don't know if Super Bowl is our ceiling this year or not, but just breaking that drought and feeling like you've got something to play for, not just this season, but for so many seasons to come. It's a new day in Broncos country. It's Michael, ecstatic is the word I would use. Absolutely ecstatic.
Yeah, I'm this is just a good feeling. Like I honestly, I wish I had the feeling the last couple of weeks, but we're here, winning it at home, winning it in those beautiful uniforms, winning it against the Kansas City Chiefs, like all those things kind of came, regardless of whether or not they had their backups. And I think we win that game against their starters. Obviously the Chiefs fans will say differently, but it is what it is. And I think we came out and we played a solid game. Against no matter who it is in the NFL, these guys are NFL players. We played a solid game and we came out with the victory because we needed it. And we did exactly what a team in that position should have done.
Absolutely. Now I do want to read off some stats here from 𝗕𝗿cie. End of his first season, rookie season now in the books for 𝗕𝗿cie. 66.3% completion percentage, 93 passer rating, 3,775 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, no fumbles for 𝗕𝗿cie at all this season. Wow. Compare that to his ESPN just projections from preseason. 62.3% completion rate, 3,155 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 4 fumbles, 190 yards on the ground versus his actual rushing total of 430 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, and a receiving touchdown to boot. Man alive. Man alive, guys. Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit about this Buffalo game, Jared, coming up, and we will talk about it, guys, on the Bourbon Broncos and No BS show this Tuesday. Make sure you are there, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. We will have so much to break down. But yeah, I don't see how this Broncos team goes into that Buffalo game without anything but confidence, without anything but an idea that they can carry over. Doesn't matter if it was against backups, what they did this week, they can carry over that performance and surprise people in Buffalo.
Yeah, and again, I have a buddy of mine who's a lifelong Steelers fan from the Pittsburgh area, and even he said the last team you want to play, the last wild card team you want to play in this league, in this AFC, is the Broncos.
Yeah.
It's the team that and I think if you guys watch the show on network, if you guys weren't at the game, they posted a stat that I thought was really telling, and they tried to make it a negative thing, but I took it as a positive. We were 1-6 in one score games.
And you still go 10-7. I get where you're going 100%. You go 10-7, even though you're 1-6 in one score games. And that's a stat that's going to correct next season. Like you're going to revert to average on that next season. And when you do, I mean, what's the ceiling for this Broncos team if that happens? You know, it's a young team, specifically on offense, right? You have a young offense, and those close games are done because of the defense. It's on the offense to finish them, and we have a young offense. And yeah, we went 1-6 because we got the experience in every single one of those games to be able to go down and do what we need to do. And a couple of those games came down to ridiculous things, right? Blocked field goals, stupid penalties, stuff like that. But we're there. We are there to do what we need to do, and we have so much to build around in Broncos country. And we talked about the offseason and what that looks like. And really what it comes down to is we don't know what the downfall of our team is. Right. We don't know what we need to build around other than getting experience. And now we have the opportunity to get playoff experience against a Buffalo Bills team in Buffalo and see how that game goes. We beat Buffalo last year. Nobody thought we would. Nobody did. And anything can happen. Broncos country, I know we'll get to the details of this in the pregame podcast a little bit later this week. Make sure you check out the first ever Bourbon Broncos and No BS.
Oh man.
Playoff pregame podcast. It is going to be absolutely lit. But
It's gonna
until
be fire.
then, guys, absolute. But we'll break it down in a little bit more detail then. But I don't want anybody in Broncos country going into this game against Buffalo thinking we don't have a chance. We absolutely have a chance. We're in the dance. All right, guys. We're in the show, and anything can happen from here. We know what happened. What happened to Buffalo last year? What kind of team they turned out to be after we beat them. We can surprise. We can go out there and surprise. I'm not saying I'm gonna predict a Broncos win. You guys are gonna have to tune into the pregame podcast. I'm telling you right now. But man, alive, what a feeling right now. Whew.
It is, man. It has been 9 years coming, man. Like
absolutely.
It has been.
And real quick,
up
guys,
and down quarterback carousel, like it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, guys, if you're not liking us, if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, on all of our social medias, what have you, make sure you do that. The season's just getting started right now, guys. We are going to the playoffs. Your Denver Broncos, for the first time in 9 years, are going to the dance, and Orange Weekly is going to be there with you every single step of the way. The Bourbon Broncos and 𝗕𝗿cie show is not going to let you down. We've got the Fan Appreciation show coming for you later this month. But first, Jared, we've got playoff shows to talk about, so make sure that you're liking us, you're subscribing us, you're sharing all of our shareables. We'll have content coming at you every single day coming up into this playoff game, guys, so make sure you're subscribed. Back to you, Jared. Talk to me, because I want to say I'm sorry to all of our fans. Nobody predicted the Broncos would win 38-0, so nobody wins the jersey this week.
Yeah.
But that includes us, Jared. What a spectacular performance against these Kansas City backups.
It really was, and it shows the disparity in the league of starters versus backups, which is crazy, right? Like, you think of this, the NFL, like, we definitely thought that they were going to score some sort of points. I mean, there was a missed field goal in there, but other than that, like the zero, we shut out the Kansas City Chiefs and the all-star play calling and the great coaching staff of the Kansas City Chiefs. Regardless of if a good 5 or 6 starters weren't playing, they still had some starters out there, and they couldn't do it, right? And this Chiefs team is not invincible. We all know that. Everybody knows that. Like, it's been close games every single week. But we did it 38-0. And I think you said earlier in the chat, like, oh man, I hate a punt. And it's like, what a great place to be in. Right? What a great place to be in when you have to be mad about a punt. Like,
I will say this. I think the Broncos were only up 21-0 at the time, and they were entering, it was that first possession coming out of halftime. And I was like, oh man, is this it? Is this the beginning of their letdown? Like, is this the beginning of the second half meltdown that we've seen from this Broncos at times in the season? No. Turns out, momentary blip. Go out there, throw another touchdown pass, Bo Nix. Go ahead. One more. Do 4. And really quick, before we get back to that comment, because the Broncos flag is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Byron. We've had fans from Italy coming in today, now American Samoa. It's so great to have everybody from around the world tuning in to celebrate the Broncos as we make the playoffs for the first time in 9 years. Brian is completely correct. Jared, do you want to tell the story of that Broncos flag real quick? There's something behind that.
No, I mean, honestly, it was a going away gift for my last command, active duty military. I left my last command. They knew I was a huge Broncos fan. They knew I did Orange Weekly and Bourbon Broncos no BS, and that's what they got for me. I had an old American flag one that was a little smaller. They made this for me. It holds all my challenge coins from my time throughout the Navy, and I absolutely love it. I'm so happy for my time in China Lake. For those of you who know where that is,
absolutely.
But yeah, it was great. I'm super happy for it, and I proudly wear that in the back of my backdrop.
Absolutely. Some more fan reactions coming in. Folks are excited. Chantal says, "Let's go Broncos." Jeff says, "Big win from Go Broncos from Long Island, New York." Thank you so much for joining us, Jeff. And of course, Brian. Jared, talk just a little bit, real quick, about how Orange Weekly is not only veteran run, but also run, by active duty military members such as yourself.
Yeah, so I just a real quick background, and this is a good time to say it, and Kevin's going to join me here shortly, but Orange Weekly started with both me and Kevin were active duty, Kevin Air Force, me Navy. We both got stationed in Pensacola, and we were sitting there after the Super Bowl victory, and we said, man, it sucks that, like, when you're active duty, I was stationed in Hawaii, stationed in Canada, like, it kind of sucks that you don't have like that Denver Broncos, like being in Denver, being in Colorado Springs, where we're from. You have those like bars and stuff you go to and just like talk to people, right? Like, oh yeah, go Broncos. You can talk about, Bo Nix and all these things that we're talking about now. At the time, we were like, man, it sucks that we don't have that. So we started a group on Facebook, and when we started with Facebook, it was just a group of people like, hey, let's just talk about Broncos, because we don't have that, right? We can't go to work and talk about like in Denver and Colorado Springs, like you can go to work and there's bound to be Broncos fans, and we didn't have that. So we were like, let's start something. And after a while, Facebook told us to make it a page because we had too many people, and we made a page. And the next thing you know, we're like, oh, people like talking like this, like, joining us in the comments and talking Broncos with us. And so we were like, let's do this. Let's start it up. And it's grown to amazing potential. I appreciate all of you guys watching. We've been doing this for 9 years now because we love it. And we haven't made any money off of any of this. It's all out of our own pocket. And we just want to, talk Broncos with people. And it's nice to be able, I'm in San Diego now. Kevin's back in Denver now, which is nice, but I'm out in San Diego. We don't have a lot of Broncos fans out here. So it's nice to be able to sit down with you guys once a week, twice a week, really, Tuesday shows, and then Sundays, to be able to talk this and be able to do this. And it's nice to be able to, reconnect, David, and, old friends from for a long time, probably one of my oldest friends here, just to be able to talk every week and talk Broncos and just talk about what we want to talk about. And it's been a great time. It's absolutely been my therapy, coming home from work and deployments. I mean, I was on deployment all year last year. I was out 10 months. So it's nice coming home and being able to talk Broncos with you guys and be able to do this. So I really appreciate you. Yeah, we have 22,500 followers on Facebook. We've boosted our YouTube views, and I love every single one of you guys. I really do appreciate you guys joining in and being able to talk with us about this. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We started this after Super Bowl 50, and this is the first time that we've been able to make the playoffs. So it's huge. It's a big part of my heart that we're here right now. 9 years later, to be able to make the playoffs after starting this 9 years ago. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. All the credit goes to the fans. We do this for you. We have so much fun talking to you every week. And guys, please keep leaving your comments and questions about anything, about the playoff game coming up, about the season going forward, as about the season that we just saw, everything. Terry, thank you so much for your service. Absolutely. And Nick is ready. Nick is fired up. Yeah, absolutely. Michael, another veteran there. Nick and all the rest of Broncos country are fired up. Jared, we have so much to talk about. And I want to look back. I want to get a little retrospective with you about where we sat at the start of the season, and us, like, how we were feeling after just that first game, that first couple of games where you go, you come in feeling really, really good, right? Because Bo Nix has an awesome preseason. He gets named the starter in training camp. You're ready to go. You think you've got something. And then you come out and you look like you do against the Steelers and the Seahawks in those first two games, where you can't score an offensive touchdown. And or you score one in the Seahawks game when it's in garbage time. You don't score a touchdown at all against the Steelers. And then you go out that week 3 against Tampa Bay, who just beat Detroit at the time, and you go on the road and smack the hell out of them. And suddenly Bo Nix looks like a completely different quarterback, and the season is completely different. How do you feel after that 0-2 start, making the playoffs, going 10-5 down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, you go 10-5 down the stretch, and that's really what it is. Like, you win 3 in a row, right? Going into the Chargers game, we were 3-2. And then we win the next 2 after that, which that game was disappointing. And so, for the record, again, we talked about the military background. I didn't join or back in until after the Jets game, I believe. Right. After deployment. So I came in the Jets game. We were 2-2. I was like, hey, we got a 500 team right now. Like, what's going on? and so I didn't get to see the Bucs game. I saw the Steelers game. We did get to watch the Steelers game, and a buddy of mine, we watched a little bit with that underway. Super late night in the Middle East. But so we go forward, and now you're 3-2 going to the Chargers game. You lose the Chargers game, kind of roughly, right? Some garbage time, and you're like, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe we are a 500 team, right? You end up saying, okay, we're a 500 team, and that's better than, again, Vegas said after drafting 𝗕𝗿cie, they were like, 𝗕𝗿cie, you gave all the stats at the beginning of the show. 𝗕𝗿cie is going to be terrible. He's going to be a rough quarterback, and he's not a day one starter. And then we win the next 2 in a row. And now all of a sudden we're 5-3 going into the Ravens and Chiefs. And we knew those teams were going to be tough. We knew it going into that. So we go 5-3, we go into that, we go 5-5. Cool. We're 5-5 going into the Falcons, and then we win 4 in a row. Yeah. Like, how do you win 4 in a row after that?
Right. But you come out of that Chiefs game, it was such a crucial turning point in their season to talk about how they responded, right? Because you lose that game, a game that you should have won, a game that you were in control, and you lose it on that blocked field goal at the very last second. You should, only blocked field goal of your entire season. But how do you respond to that? How do you come out of that game knowing that you should have beaten the best team in the AFC, the team that just beats your ass every single year in your division?
Yep.
And you should have beaten them on their soil. So you let that deflate you, or how do you respond to that? And like you said, they respond by winning 4 in a row.
Yeah, not only that, but you go into the Falcons, who at the time Kirk Cousins was playing lights out, and we could talk about the whole Kirk Cousins Mike Penix thing, but and beat him 38-6. Like, we destroyed the Falcons at the time, and then we go in there and we beat the Falcons handedly. We go in and beat the Raiders for the second time now in a while. We beat the Browns, and then we beat the Colts handedly. Again, we beat the Colts.
There it is.
Spotty.
There it is. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jared, but I couldn't let Spotty light that cigar and not have him be live. That would have been
This is my fault. I challenged him to do it.
You did. And, well, Spotty, welcome.
You knew it was going to happen, man. I just had to be outside to do it.
Spotty, we have been talking our asses off, and we need to hear from somebody else. Go ahead. How are you feeling tonight, my friend?
Oh, one of the things I want to talk about real quick is the fact no one mentioned, I've been listening, 61 sacks on the season for the Denver Broncos. That's going to be top 25 all time. Top 25 all time.
All time.
And somebody called this the anonymous crush earlier.
I like it.
So,
I love that.
Listen, I'm super stoked right now. We are 5.5. We were supposed to be at 5.5 wins, guys. We're at 10 wins on the season. So, David, I believe you were the closest one earlier. You said 8 wins, right?
I remember saying 8 to 9. I'm going to take credit for that because I remember that, maybe that's a little wishy-washy, but 8 to 9 was where I was at the start of the season for sure.
I'm proud of you. You did well on this one. So the nice thing about making the playoffs, even the 7th seed, some people are like, oh, you backed into the playoffs. I'm like, you're not back into anything. You made the playoffs. You had to win those games. You had to beat those below 500 teams to get to this spot. So you know what? This is incredible for a team in a rebuild year. And I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. I don't care who we have to play. You know what? At this point, I think that we could beat anybody.
Absolutely. Give it to him, Spotty. And I love everybody right now, united under the old logo. We're all doing a great job. The fashion is on point 100%. And guys, once again, the Denver Broncos are going to the playoffs.
Did you guys both sit in this championship blend yet?
Oh, hell yeah, buddy.
We did.
Absolutely.
We opened it up. Had some of this championship blend. You got some of that?
Well, I'm late, guys. I had to make sure to get my championship blend.
No. Absolutely.
No, it's all good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pour some more of this because, man, this is so smooth.
Whew, boy, guys, this is not. I want to make sure everybody knows. Maybe we would love to be sponsored by Breckenridge Bourbon. We're not right now. This Broncos Country blend is absurd. It's so good, guys. If you have a few bucks to spare and you're feeling in a celebrating mood, go out and get you some. Don't drink and drive. Absolutely enjoy responsibly, but make sure if you can go pick up some of this.
Yeah, we got Broncos Country is happy right now. Terry, right, Allison, right, all of you guys joining us, Jeremy, Michael, I appreciate you guys joining in. Like, this is just we're feeling on cloud 9 right now as Broncos Country, and it's not for nothing. Like, again, a team that was supposed to go 5.5, and we talked about this on the tailgate talk, David, and we talked about it at halftime. Like, we were supposed to be the team that wasn't supposed to be here. Like, we were supposed to be the team that started a rebuild in, 3 to 4 years. Maybe we got it together to make the playoffs. We did it in our first year. The sky is the limit going forward right now.
Absolutely.
And not just this year. I mean, we're not done. we still have another game, and there are a lot of people sitting here that are saying, oh, the Buffalo Bills are going to take you out, and that's okay. But again, I go back to that stat that the ESPN or whoever, CBS, I think, posted, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, they posted that we're 1-6 in close games. And you know why that is? It's because we've been in 7 close games. Like we're talking 6 games, 5 games that we could have won if we had, the experience and the time and the energy. And guess what? They got that experience. And now we have the experience to be able to go in. Now we're going to get experience in the playoffs. We have an experienced team, and going through and being able to figure this out together, it just makes me so happy for the future. Not just next week, but the next 4 or 5 years. Like we finally have it figured out. In the 9 years that we've been doing Orange Weekly, this is the first time I feel confident, not just because we made the playoffs, but that we have a future in the Denver Broncos. Because there's nobody on this team that I'm like, they need to go right now in order for us to be ready.
Yeah. You sir, I think they talked about it.
By the way.
No, yeah.
We beat playoff teams. Like Tampa Bay just made the playoffs. We beat them. So
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, and like I think Nantz and Romo said it. Like I think the Broncos have definitely put notice to the rest of the AFC right now. Like you have to factor us in every year. This coaching staff and these players are going to stay together for the most part. They are going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to get more experience together. And you cannot overlook the Broncos anymore. They are not a bottom dweller in the AFC anymore. They are going to make noise every single year. I'm not saying we're going to make the playoffs every single year, guys, but the Broncos are not a team you're going to be able to overlook anymore.
Yeah. And think about this too. And I bring this up because we are 1 blocked field goal away from sweeping the division champions.
Absolutely right.
1 blocked field goal away from, and that just gives me that motivation that we will be on top. We will be on top in the next couple of years. I have no doubt in my mind that we'll be on top of the AFC West in the next couple of years.
Can I say though, I think it was about 5 weeks ago, I was like, I would be really hurt if the Broncos are going to be like, we were a block away from making the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what every single one of us was probably thinking about 6 weeks ago. What happens if that's about
it's what I was thinking 2 weeks ago for sure.
But think about it. Then we come out and win 4 in a row. We come out of that
coming out playing like in the Bengals way. Like it felt like the NFL script was written for the Cincinnati Bengals to make the playoffs for Joe Burrow to be MVP. But hey, listen, 38-0. It's like there's the ability to go into a game like this, even if the second and third stringers are out, and shit a brick. Okay.
Yeah.
It's happened before. It has absolutely happened before. So there's precedent for something like this. And instead of the Broncos coming out and being lackadaisical, let's be for real. When you think the guy on the other side of you is really on the JV squad, are you coming out at 100% all the time? No. Like maybe you take off a couple of plays. Maybe you do this and that. And I do not believe in the entirety of the first half that the Broncos take their foot off the gas.
No.
They absolutely hit mash on the Lambeau, and they said, we don't want this to even be a thought in somebody's mind.
Jared, you were talking earlier, and to Spotty's point here, you were talking about the Falcons earlier. You were talking about the Falcons and how they came out in this game with everything to play for still. And look, that game was a shootout. Honestly, it was a good game. But they came up short in the end. They lose to the Panthers, a 4-win team with nothing to play for. And you can say, oh, well, they had a rookie quarterback in. Well, so did the Broncos. And
the Saints did it against Tampa.
Yeah.
The Saints put it to Tampa for most of the game.
For most of that game. It was absolutely into the end of the fourth quarter in that game, too. It happened twice this morning. And so, yeah, it felt – you saw the Broncos execute on that first drive, right? And even on the second drive. And they just marched their way down the field and allowed nothing on the defensive side, both drives. And you say to yourself, oh, well, they had to convert 4th down on one of these drives to make that happen. Is it like, what am I really seeing? But from start to finish, in that game. They did exactly what they needed to do every single time they had the ball. It was
I'd feel like if you were to wrap this entire game up into what it meant for Broncos country, it would be that 𝗕𝗿𝗲 touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that is what wraps up everything that this meant for them. It's the consistency of the play. It's the keeping to understanding what the position is and knowing exactly where the ball is at any time. And the Broncos just did what they needed to do to get to the playoffs, because that was an amazing play by 𝗕𝗿𝗲𝗵𝘁, an amazing heads up play to understand what was going on. And B, just the drive for the Broncos to know what they needed to do to win this game. And just, hats off to the Broncos, and all the players and all the coaches deserve this. Hats off to guys like Garrett Bowles and Courtland Sutton and those guys that have been with the team for so long, that they need this. And again, Sutton getting his $500,000, well deserved, for getting those points and getting those yards. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I'm ecstatic. We're heading it. And then 𝗕𝗿𝗲 just again, rookies making the plays.
You talked about getting his knee. Got a knee and 2 feet in. Go ahead, Spotty.
Can we pat on ourselves on the back, though, and Jared and David? Marvin Mims has been an incredible player for the Broncos for the last 6 weeks. And I encourage anybody who hasn't been able to look at the clips from us from last year. But last year when Legwold came on, our question to him specifically was about Marvin Mims. Why isn't Marvin Mims getting in? Why isn't Marvin Mims getting plays? And I get it. Everybody was a little worried when we let Jerry Jeudy go, and he showed us in the game earlier this year, like, this is why he needed another look. But this group of guys was about Marvin Mims, and the man has been incredible. And if he can continue this streak of plays, second-year player, remember, setting down, just like we're talking about these rookies, second-year player, he can continue the streak of explosive plays from here on out.
He can be, like, if he gets a little bit better in the downfield receiving game, he could be our Deebo Samuel. Like, his ability out of the backfield this season has been astronomically good. And if you can add a little bit more of that just kind of general down the field receiving threat to him, like, man, he could really, really be something for this team.
Well, and you know what showed it for me was the last week's game. Like, as disappointing as last week's game was, Marvin Mims showed us that he could do everything. He can go downfield and he can make the downfield plays. He could. The top speed is the reason we drafted him in the first place, right? That top speed to get over the top was, and that dart by Bo Nix last week to throw it in between the two safeties, just amazing. And then nobody expected it, because this is not what he's known for, but going up against a contested catch, going up to get the play in the contested catch in a 4th and 2, knowing he needs that to be able to keep the game alive. Just, again, Marvin Mims just having an amazing year this year. Very happy he made the Pro Bowl as a returner, but as a general player and athlete on our team, the fact that, and again, we talk about, giving Marvin Mims the credit for, doing so well. Let's give Coach Payton a little bit of credit here. Like, Coach Payton, while we all questioned why he wasn't, I know, why we weren't using him, why we weren't doing certain things, why we weren't calling certain plays to him, found the athlete in Marvin Mims and started calling plays to him. Right? Put him in the backfield, put him in open field positions, put him in positions to where he was able to make plays, and just did an amazing job. And just really appreciate what Sean Payton has been able to do with this team and the athletes that he has back there.
And making different decisions with Mims too. Like, you saw him start to get handoffs in a time when the run game was really struggling and they just needed a little bit of a spark there. And then you saw him build off of that, but he continued to build off of it throughout the rest of the season. And we saw even a new evolution of it today, where they did, the fake pitch and then the fake reverse jet sweep to Franklin, and then dump it off to Mims, who then takes it in for that touchdown. They keep adding little wrinkles to get Mims the ball in space and to make the defense think twice about where the ball is going, even when he lines up in the backfield.
Yeah, it creates a problem for the defense when you have to keep an eye on both Courtland Sutton and Marvin Mims.
And then 𝗕𝗿𝗲 is still the safety blanket. I know we haven't talked. He hasn't done a lot recently, but the catch, and then of course he had a big play for what it was like 30-something yards later on in this game. I mean, I'm okay with that. I get it. We can gripe about we don't have a lot of explosive players on the team specifically, and I'm a gripe about Sean Payton in the run game.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you get in the playoffs doing it, then is it really that bad?
Yeah, I mean that's
right.
there's a question.
That's the thing you got to look at. Well, I mean, okay, so let's look at this. So Jaleel McLaughlin has 16 carries, 2.5 yards average. Estime is 2.8. Javonte only got the ball 5 times, but had 28 yards on his 5.6 yards per carry. We stuck with the run game. We threw it 29 times. We ran it. Well, 43 is 43 minus 7. Quick math. It's still over 29. We ran the ball more than we passed it, and had a total of 158 yards on the ground and 321 over the air. So I think that's kind of what they're looking at there. But ultimately, I think a lot of that runtime came because we were up by so much.
Both throws off the numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, both throws off numbers. 7 yards, 7 carries for 47 yards.
And it could have been like 125 yards. Were it not for
it was less than it was about 100 yards. Yeah, it was about 100 yards. Yeah.
Let him look at lessons though, because you know what? I'm actually kind of okay with him trying to make plays. Like it was close. That pitch, it was close. Like, Jared, you're going to say I get it. Yeah, it was forward. You're right, but it was close.
Well,
it was close.
No, I'll say this. It is very hard. I don't know if people understand this. Running full speed and trying to pitch backwards, you have to pitch backwards like 10 yards in order for it to be ahead of. Yeah. Because the momentum of the ball, the momentum of the person, like he pitched it back 5 yards and it ended up 2 yards ahead of him. It's science. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, he'll fine tune it. He's a rookie. He'll fine tune it.
Yeah, and if anything, I don't do it. Yeah, we're not practicing that. Like when no one's practicing the pitch, and like we're not practicing the option in practice. So like he did what he thought. And honestly, like if you look at before the play, like in live, he looks like he's pitching it backwards, and he does. But the momentum brought the ball forward. That's just what it is. That's how it works out. But like I don't doubt him. I'm not mad at him for pitching that. I thought that was hilarious, and I think he's out there having fun. They're playing backyard football, which means, again, the culture of this team is where it needs to be. They're having fun. They're out there enjoying their time. It's like the Chiefs, man. Like look at the Chiefs, 4 or 5 weeks. Like Travis Kelce does it all the time. He catches the ball. He's getting kind of tackled. He's like, hey, here, you want this? Like, here you have it. Like, it's just a good time to be a Broncos fan. Cause like the culture's good. The people are happy. The team is firing on cylinders, and the losses, they suck. But it's not like they're bouncing back from them. They're coming back because they're a team, and they're coming back and saying, hey, we still got this. And that's what makes us the most dangerous wild card in this playoffs.
And I left this comment up here because we haven't talked about it, and it does deserve, I think, a mention at least. We have the single largest dead cap hit in NFL history, counting against our salary cap this year.
Yeah.
And you go out and make the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. And now you've got, before we bring on one more special guest, you've got some of that cap space back going into next year, and you're going to move off from that Russell Wilson contract. You've got a new practice facility that free agents are going to want to come to because your owners are willing to spend money on your franchise. And that's a really interesting wrinkle to all of this too. But before we get into all of that, I want to welcome.
Well, hold on.
Yep, go ahead.
Hold on. Before we bring him on, I want to give credit to Spotty, because Spotty brought this up on, I don't know what it was, a couple Tuesdays ago, bringing up the fact that we have built a team around, I forgot my point already. Man, I'm drunk. We built a team around Sean Payton being able to get a young team together and make the playoffs with a young team. And that's not just because like, oh, we're getting experience, we're doing these great things. It's because now you have an availability to bring in players that are like, wow, this is a young team that is making the playoffs. And you have players who may be stars right now and in their peak of their prime to be able to say, hey, maybe the Broncos are where I want to go. And we haven't had that in 9 years. Right? With Sean, we have Peyton Manning leaving. We have coaches leaving. We have all these things that are happening. Nobody's like, oh, the Broncos are the team that I want to build with. Now you have a young quarterback. You have a young defense that is playing lights out. and you have a team that people want to go play for.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Spotty, I want to give you credit for that because that was your point. I want to make sure that that you got the credit for that.
Yeah.
Free agent destination, man. If you see a young team making the playoffs, you might take a little less money to win some playoff games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And without further ado, we're going to bring in the founder of this great Orange Weekly, the one, the only, 𝗕𝗿𝗲.
I hear we got something to celebrate, boys.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, Spotty, tell me you have the orange bottle.
Open these.
Spotty, tell me you got the orange
which
bottle.
one you got?
Yes,
he's got the orange bottle.
Hell yeah.
Oh, look at that. We organized it well. Blue on top, orange on bottom. Let's go.
I need to perform myself a little more, okay?
Amen, brothers. Absolutely. Ooh.
Hey, guys. I know you've said it a million times, but I just got here. I'm going to say it again. Cheers to you guys and everyone out there. The Broncos are playoff bound. And I don't care what talking head out there says the Bengals should be in or this team should be in. The Broncos freaking deserve it. Okay? They have done so many things that people just did not think this team was going to do. So, Terry, mile-high salute to the fans, to the team. And I'm just going to say this, guys. I think one of the things it boils down to, these guys play for each other. They are dedicated to the team. They're dedicated to the system. They're dedicated to Bo Nix, and they are going to go to hell and back for each other. So, man, this is a team that you can definitely build something around, and I am stoked to see what these guys can do. Do not count us out against the Bills just, right off the bat.
No.
𝗕𝗿𝗲, what was the atmosphere like at the stadium?
You know,
man, you got to tell us.
It was the loudest I have seen or I've heard, and felt the stadium, the stands rumbling. The fans did not care that it was a throwaway game for the Chiefs. They did not care that we were playing against the backups. They did not care when the score was 31-0. They were stomping their feet, and they were freaking loud. So it was just, it was an amazing experience to see just how the fans have come together. I will say to the nearly 4,000 fans that didn't show up, you suck. But don't worry, we made it loud enough for you guys.
Yeah. Man alive. Kev, how are you feeling? Give us your general thoughts about what did you think that was going into this game? How did you feel going into this game, and how did the Broncos meet or exceed your expectations?
So there was just a little bit of nervousness. Yeah. We've been Broncos fans for long enough to know that you can't just go in there incredibly arrogant and, you can't be just like, oh, we're going to absolutely win this game. There's a little bit of nervousness that maybe the ball's going to bounce not in our favor. What if we get a ton of bad calls? We're just sloppy. What if the team goes out there and just kind of takes it easy because they think that, oh, they're playing the backups, so we don't have to try so hard? Man, that went away very, very quickly. I'd say after the Broncos' second drive, it was all gone, and there was no worry at all.
Yeah.
So, that's the only worry I had. But I think you guys were talking about, I was listening to you guys on the way home too. A couple of the teams that, were playing backups today ended up losing,
Right.
So nothing is a given. These guys went out there and they made sure to play their A game. They did not slow up. They did not let up. David, like you were saying, they made sure to keep the pedal on the gas the whole time. And that's what you want to see from a team that's dedicated to winning. They don't care who the opponent is. They don't care if they're going up against the JV squad. They're going to do their best. And would I have guessed a 38-0 win? Not at all. I was thinking more like maybe 21 or 24 to like 6 or 13 or something like that. But our defense did everything they could.
Yeah.
And how many sacks did we get today? 4 or 5?
I
think it was 3. Okay. I thought we get a little bit more than that. But either way, getting 61 on the season, this is just so good to see and so refreshing to see after everything we've been through.
How about this, 𝗕𝗿𝗲?
Yeah.
How excited are you to have a Bourbon Broncos and OWBN playoff show?
Wait, we keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
We're not ending here?
No.
Yeah, like you guys have probably heard already, maybe if you haven't joined, this is the first year, obviously, we're going to get to cover the Broncos playoff game. So make sure you're tuning into this week, starting, tomorrow night with the post-game show, Tuesday night, Bourbon Broncos and OBS, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I am stoked to hear your guys' first ever playoff pre-game podcast. You guys are going to just annihilate it and just do wonderful. So it's going to be a very exciting week for Broncos country. All around the league, they're going to be saying, the Bills have a 95% chance to win. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think you're going to see this team go out there and fall flat on their face. They're young.
Oh, absolutely not.
I think they're going to bring a lot of college energy, college type of playoff energy. And again, when you have a team that is just willing to battle to the very end and fight for each other, you never know. You can never know what's going to happen. Glenn, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I think this brings it up perfectly. Don't sleep on the Denver Broncos. We're going into the Bills. People are going to sleep on us. It's going to happen. National media, national talking heads are going to sleep on us. It's not exactly the easy game. Now, I know that the Bills aren't sitting there thinking it is either, but this is not a game to just sleep on and say, the Bills are just going to handily take care of the Broncos. 1-6 in one-score games, but that's one score away from just being able to win the game, and against playoff teams too. Like, we can do it. I know we can.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they're playing with they're that team that's playing with house money, right? They're that team that wasn't supposed to be here in the first place and has some really good players and has nothing to play for except they have everything to play for. So fuck it. Whereas all the pressure is now on Buffalo, all of the pressure you heard it. I don't know if you guys caught the Patriots Bills game before this Broncos game, but man, that's all the announcers were talking about. Literally the entire game was, is this Buffalo's year? Is this the time that they have it? The team's different now. They've got, Kansas City doesn't look as good this postseason. All of the pressure is on Buffalo, and that makes this Broncos team as dangerous as anything, right, Spotty?
There's a lot of history, I feel like, that goes into this for the Broncos. I'm not really sure how many Broncos quarterbacks that were drafted by the Broncos have gotten us to the playoffs in their first year.
That's got to be a big fat zero. Now one. We got one, guys. We got one.
And I think that's one of the most refreshing things as a Broncos fan. We're sitting back and we're in the new era. This could be the start, right? David, I was listening to you and Jared talking about Bo earlier and talking about there's not the question of the Broncos and are we going to draft another quarterback in 2020, the 2024 draft. As a matter of fact, we've had little conversations about the NFL draft at all, even in our group chat on the show. I know, as some of y'all know, I've only been on the show. This is only my second year on the show at all. But the fact that we didn't start in week 8, talking about when are the Broncos going to potentially draft. I don't even remember who it was going to be, Caleb Williams. Anyway, so it's nice to start this era. It's nice to see these records broken. I dropped in the group chat a little while ago. Bo Nix got 18 touchdowns at home, which is a rookie record. Period. Let me just say that one more time. Period. There's no rookie quarterback who scored. So, it's exciting. I don't care what happens in the Buffalo Bills game. 100%, I don't care. At this point, this team who is a congregation of first-year contracts, second, third year, 6th-round picks like Jonathan Cooper, they are doing things, and George Payton, Sean Payton, the Penner Group, they've done a lot of work in the last 2 years to make this team a competitive team, and I'm happy. I'm excited. I don't care. Let's go. Let's see Buffalo in the winner. I don't give a damn. 55-0 or 24-21. Who cares?
And to your point about the Penner Group, I want to say this about our ownership group, because look, I have my own opinions about Walmart, and we're not going to get into them on the show because it's not that kind of show. But guys, it's not just that we have the richest ownership group, right? It's that
They
we have
care.
an ownership group that knows what the hell to do, which is just sign blank checks and then let the football guys do the football things.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have Jerry Jones owners in here that are willing to act as a general man. And there was a quote from Jerry Jones, and bless him for being honest, but like, he was like, look, I didn't buy this team to give it to my kids. I bought this team to have a job, and that job is to be the GM of this team. And that's why the Cowboys are the Cowboys. But the Broncos, like, this ownership group is like, yeah, you want a new practice facility? I don't care how much it costs. We're going to replace the field midway through the season so the players have the safest and best possible surface. Whatever, done. Give it to them.
Here's $500 million.
Yeah, and we're going to let Sean Payton and George Payton make the football decisions because that's what we're paying them to do.
Because we're in a playoff game.
And we're in a playoff game now.
You're right. Like, it goes down to the owners care. Or would you see Jerry? Can you imagine Jerry Jones walking out and hanging out with people at the tailgate, introducing themselves?
Yeah.
You know, and saying, "Hey, I'm Jerry Jones. Like, hey, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for being fans. Like, you know, hey, what do you think? You know, what are some of your observations from the team?" Can we do that?
Jerry Jones is filming.
I experienced that.
Yeah,
exactly. Jerry Jones won't even put up a $5 curtain to block the sun
for his own team's benefit. It's
like, he was like, "What, am I going to just tear down the whole stadium?" No, dude, just go to Walmart and buy a $5 curtain. We got owners that, an honest, true story. At the beginning of the season, Carrie Walton-Penner came out with Damari Mathis and was introducing herself and just listening to people. It wasn't just, "Oh, here's who I am, here's what I'm going to do," and then leave. She was listening to people. These guys care. And I'll go back to it. Look, the Pat Bowlen, and much love Pat Bowlen, the biggest mistake he ever made was not setting up a solid transition plan for after his pass. So when we had the Pat Bowlen Trust, I say it again, it was like a bunch of middle managers running a Fortune 500 company. And that's what we had to deal with for a solid 7 years until these new guys came in and took a year to learn, understand the team, understand their job, what the team needs, and then to start making, changes and implementing their vision. And you're right. It's as simple as, hey, here's the check. I trust you to go do your job. You're the GM. You're the head coach. You make the decisions. None of this, "Oh, hey, coach, here's a play that I saw some other teams run, and I really like this, so make sure you run it this week." And, "Oh, I'm not going to trade that guy because his Madden rating was too low." Like my son said, like the Jets owner did, So,
shout out to the Jets for that John Franklin Myers trade, and give us Garrett Wilson for a third-round pick this offseason. Just do it.
Right. Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that if you want it. He's also really low on the Madden ratings. If
his Madden rating. Gotta get.
No. So what would you say the Walton-Penner group though? Like, I think the best decision they made was getting Sean Payton.
Well, and that's a ballsy call. And Spotty, I want to throw this over to you because I know you have thoughts.
Yeah, Spotty's going to have.
I know you have thoughts, but it's a ballsy call to go out there and say, "I'm going to trade a first and a second round pick for this coach specifically," and give him basically the reins to your franchise at that point. Say, I want you to chart the course of what we're doing from here on out. And look, Spotty, I know you're going to have thoughts, and I think some of them are even valid. But I will say, so far, so good.
I'm probably going to die on the hill that trading for a coach is not the way you use your first round draft pick. Like, I'm just going to die on that hill. If you look at the history of trading a first round draft pick, you might say the most successful was John Gruden being traded from the Raiders to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah. But my family is close friends with Tony Dungy, and John Gruden definitely won a championship with Tony Dungy's team. But
no lies detected, though. Like, really,
no lies. Yeah,
I'm just saying they had the number one defense the year that they won, and John Gruden's not a defense guy. But I will say that Peyton has grown slightly on me. I still have
progress.
I have beef with his play calling at time. I truly believe that he thinks that he's a genius.
There's no question
that
in my
can get
mind.
you sometimes.
He
believes
absolutely thinks that. Yeah.
And we all know some geniuses, okay? And some of them are the stupidest people we know. But he did get us here, okay? And you have to give him the credit for that. He brought in Vance Joseph. We all
another ballsy call.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us would be liars if we're like, yeah, Vance Joseph is a great defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah,
especially after the Miami game. Sorry, Jared, I'm bringing it up. All of us were like, fire this guy.
No, Jared, I'm sorry. I don't know if we'd be where we are today without the Miami game, Jared. I think we needed the Miami
agreed.
game. I think
Might be right.
Yeah, I get it.
No, what? No, okay, time out. Let's back up. Let's hold on, time out. So first of all, we don't bring up the Miami game. We talked about this, 𝗕𝗿Dan. That's in my contract. You owe me money. So
who
second
gave
of all,
you a contract?
I did. So second of all,
for it. You guys keep telling me it's in the mail.
I do want to bring up that when we hired Vance Joseph, and I love Vance Joseph, for the record. Like I'm there for it. And yes, the Miami game pissed me the hell off. It wasn't on the defense coordinator. I don't. There's just a game that I'd want to forget forever. However, when we hired Vance Joseph, Broncos country was up in arms. Like we were pissed after, and the balls. Like I want to say like the what it takes for a man to come back to a team that booed him out of the stadium. What it takes for a man who saw what he saw at Sean Payton, whatever the conversation was behind closed doors, like whatever that conversation was, had to have been real. Like it had to have been probably one of the most influential decisions, and in Broncos country, probably one of the most crazy conversations that we've had in Broncos country, because behind closed doors, they had a whiskey, maybe some Breckenridge Distillery whiskey, but whatever it was, they had some conversations behind closed doors, and he had to come back to a place that booed him out of the stadium.
Yeah. And it's like you, I mean, I don't know how you can say it better than that, Jared, but I'm going to try. It's not taking it personally. Right? Like there are so many personalities in the NFL just generally, and you see like people like George Pickens take it personally every single goddamn week he's on the field. But it happens on coaching staffs too. There are these kind of like there's this disparity of personalities on coaching staffs just as much as there are on rosters. And having Vance Joseph just come back and be like, I get it. Like I'm not going to take it personally. This is the game. This is how fans react. I'm going to just do my best. And you know, like all the credit to him for coming back in the face of that, like you said, being booed out of the stadium.
You might need a Vance Joseph with Sean Payton. Sean Payton is a Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells, like tree of coaches. These aren't your softy, like, oh, your tummy hurts, maybe you should sit out of this game. No, like if your finger's not broken, I think you should play. But Vance Joseph is a player guy.
Yeah.
Vance Joseph is the player guy. Like that's 100%. And I think that these guys that are out on the Broncos defense right now, they're out there 100% to also play for Vance Joseph. Okay.
Yeah.
The Nick Bonitos, the Jonathan Coopers, the Barton, that these guys came in and they bought into Vance Joseph, and they're like, hey, we like the way that he treats us, so we're going to play to our fullest. We know in the Broncos locker room there's not necessarily the true leader. There's no Von Miller or Peyton Manning anymore that's coming out to grab everybody the balls and tell them let's win this game. Like we have a lot of passive leaders on this team, but if you have that means you have a coach that can also rein everybody in. So Vance Joseph, everything that I said in the past, don't watch any of my other videos that you are watching at all. Thank you.
I want to bring up Jose's point. I want to bring up Jose's thing really quickly because he's posted twice. And then Jose, I appreciate you posting, man.
We love it.
3 keys to victory for Denver. It's going to be a big test. Play on January 12th or 13th, Monday Night Football. It will be awesome. One game at a time. And guys, it just goes back to like what you're saying, Spotty. They play for each other. And you don't necessarily need that one big name leader on the team. If you're all playing for each other and you look to the head coach and we see what Sean Payton does at the podium, he'll stand by his decisions and he'll stand by his players. and he'll take credit, whether it's good or bad. There's no passing the buck. There's no blaming this, blaming that. This was my decision. This is why I did it. And that's the way it is. And it worked out for us, or it didn't work out for us. So, look, again, you can't count the Broncos out of this next game. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we're for sure going to win, but you can for sure bet that we're going to go out there and we're going to play our damnedest all the way until the end of the fourth quarter.
And yeah, you're going to see some leadership books being. What's that?
I'll look that up.
Anybody looking at the weather in Buffalo?
Yeah, good question.
Saturday or Sunday? Yeah, Kevin's going to look up. I just want to bring up real quick for Sean Payton that Sean Payton is one of those coaches they're going to write a book about, right? Whether like Tony Dungy came out with a book and I read it, and it is amazing, a book about like just leadership and his concept of passing credit and taking blame is absolutely amazing. And you've seen it this year. Yeah. Right. You've seen it in him taking the blame for Bo Nix's downfalls in certain situations and giving credit to Bo Nix and to the defense or whatever it is in games. Like it's a literally like we're watching as Broncos country. And I don't think people realize it, a lesson in leadership with Sean Payton as far as when he gets in front of the podium. Now, Spotty, I know you're questionable about his play calls, but it is what it is. I think he's doing a great job as a leader of this team.
And I don't think people should be under the illusion that he's not a tough coach on his players. Because I'll bet when Sean Payton sees a mistake that his players make in executing what he wants to do, he's chewing those asses out in meetings. But Jared, you're 100% right. When he gets on the podium, it's all his fault. I called the play wrong. I didn't have enough guys running routes in this play to give Bo more options, et cetera, et cetera. And he has consistently, you're right, the entire season come in and said and protected his young quarterback in a season where it's really the first time where he's had a young quarterback to protect, right? Yeah. This is really, we talked about it a lot. It's the first time Sean Payton is going into a season with a first round rookie and going out there and knowing how to protect that guy in those moments while behind the scenes coaching the hell out of him, I'm sure we all know. It's really, really cool to see.
Really quickly, so before I make my point, weather in Buffalo, cold, possibly snow if it's the Monday game with PM snow showers, but otherwise cold and maybe a little bit of wind. So we'll obviously take a close look as that goes on. But if you guys want to take a close look as to what it's like in the Broncos locker room with Sean Payton in charge, the best example I could give you is after the Browns game. We fought hard and we ended up with a win. And his post-game speech to the team did not start off with guys, you pulled through and that was awesome. We won the game. Like you hung in there. No, he started off with, we made mistakes. We have work to do. You are not there yet. We got to keep pushing forward. Oh, by the way, good job. Okay, that's the type of head coach is. So you can guarantee when the cameras aren't there and they go into that meeting after the day after the game, maybe somewhere in there's a pat on the back somewhere. But it starts with here are the things we did wrong and here's how we are going to fix them. Okay, so that is a huge part. It's not like the Vic Fangio era. It's not like the Hackett era where, guys, I love you so much. We can be best friends. I love you all, right? No, I'm the coach. We are going to get on the same page, and I'm going to make sure that I'm driving this bus. And so when I saw that video, it was just clear as day of this is the type of coach this guy is. He's going to hold them to that Super Bowl standard. Okay. And that's what you got to do to be able to get there.
Russell Wilson was not going to last with the Denver Broncos with Sean Payton as the head coach. And I think you guys actually said earlier when I was listening, I was heading home at the liquor store trying to get my lighter for my cigar, but that Bo is Payton's guy. And I think we saw that in week 5 when Sean Payton was yelling at him. And instead of taking that earful of probably terrible words, Bo just gave it back in probably a very peaceful Christian manner. and Russell Wilson needs a Mike Tomlin. right? So like,
Yeah.
any of those people who are in who said this year, like, man, if the Broncos messed up with Russell Wilson, no, like Russell Wilson needed a Mike Tomlin, and I'm not sure there's a lot of Mike Tomlin coaches in the league anymore. So I think it is very true when Sean made a point, even after we drafted Bo, and he was like, well, we even try to trick the Vikings to make sure that we got our guy. We knew from meeting two, everything I've seen about Bo is they're saying that, like, this guy's got that dog in him. As a matter of fact, his former head coach said that he might have so much dog in him that he scares other people. Yeah, like, I fear nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? So
I will eat your babies. Like, oh God.
And we've seen a lot, and like that's probably one of the biggest things I give credit to Sean about. I mean, when you have national pundits tell you that they don't have a first round grade on Bo Nix, and that he doesn't have the arm strength, he doesn't have the athleticism. Okay?
Oh, you mean the owner of the longest air yards pass in the NFL in 2024? That noodle arm fuck? Go ahead.
And a guy who ran for probably ended up being 400 plus yards this year, right?
Yeah, almost.
I'm telling you, man, Bo is athletic. If I want to go back, I want to read that. If you tell me that Bo is not athletic, that person should eat their pencil, because the man has done things this year that, I didn't expect that. I mean, you could go back to some of the other messages. I was not expecting that. So, hey, you know what?
There it is.
Yeah. Hey, and that's the man that's going to be staring at the Buffalo Bills defense. And I'm going to put defense in quotation marks there.
Oh, boy.
Well, you go back to all the times that Coach Payton was chewing out Russell Wilson on the sideline, and you mentioned it's just him kind of just sitting there taking it. I would not be surprised the first time that happened to Bo Nix and he talked back in a respectful manner, I'm sure, but saying, hey, here's what I saw, here's why I did it. Like, there's a reason behind what I did. I guarantee you, and it's something the camera didn't catch, I guarantee you, as soon as Bo walked away, I'm sure Sean Payton had a smile on his face and saying, that's my guy. That's the guy. That's what I'm looking for, is somebody who's willing to stand up for what he did, stand up for his team. And I bet you that's what he was testing out what Russell Wilson for. Like, dude, grow a backbone, Yeah. I don't care if I'm your head coach. Stand up to me when you know that I'm wrong and you're right. And we got that in Bo. He's not going to back down if he's right and Coach Payton is wrong.
Well, it's not so much about being right. It's about understanding the game. And I think that he has a guy that understands the game and is like, it's not playing to, like, I don't know. Yeah, you want the guy that's like, okay, throw to this guy if he's open, right? Like, that's easy. But as a quarterback, you need to be able to see the freaking field. Like, you need to be able to see what you're looking at. And a guy that's coming back to this coach and being like, why didn't you throw this guy? It's like, because he was freaking covered, dude. Like, that's a different mindset than of like, oh, my bad, coach, I didn't throw the guy you wanted me to throw to. It's a completely different mindset. And we have that in Bo Nix. Like, we have a guy who's being able to see the field and making his decisions based on what he feels is right. And it's great to have. It's a nice to have going into the offseason, going into the playoffs, going into the offseason. Like, it's a nice to have for the future of the Denver Broncos. Like, well, look,
we're all sold on Bo, right? Like, there's no hesitation for
we're all sold on Bo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
we've ended the drought.
Yeah.
We don't agree on everything. Like, I hope people realize that. Like,
it would be a boring show if we did.
Yeah.
I agree. It would be a
damn it, Kevin.
That's why you guys have nice thing. Hey, I'm not sure how long you guys want to keep going, but we've been over here for an hour and I'm good with going as long as you guys want to do. But I do want to mention again, guys, thank you to Breckenridge Distillery for just making the 5280 blend.
So smooth.
These guys this is so delicious. I'm glad we saved it for this night. I've been looking at this bottle for every show we've been doing the past month, just dying to open this thing. And it is so good. Make sure you guys check them out. Make sure you give them a follow. Again, first off, we just broke 22,000 followers on Facebook like 3 weeks ago. And today, last I checked before the game, we were at 22,519. So we've gained over 500 people in just a few weeks. And we love you guys so much. This is why we do the show, is for you guys and to thank you all. It's not announced that we don't have a date set in stone yet, but we are going to continue our tradition of the fan appreciation episode at the end of the season later this month. Maybe February, depending on what the Broncos do. I don't want to count them out yet. I'm just saying, I'm not going to throw anything out there, but keep an eye out. We are going to, it's technically possible. We are going to be doing our fan appreciation episode where we do a ton of giveaways, guys. Broncos swag and maybe even a grand prize of picking out your own Broncos jersey, get ready for the off season and looking good. So make sure you check that out. We're going to have some special guests, some guest appearances, and probably even bring one or two of you guys up here to have some time on air with us and talking everything. But it's just a good time to hang out with you guys and seriously say thank you for all of your support. We are going to be going into our 10th year next season. And Jared, I don't know about you, but I didn't think that was going to happen. I remember when Jared and I were just excited to have 10 people watch our show, when it was all said and done. And we're at this point. So you guys keep coming back. We're going to stay really active in the off season, making videos and everything. So please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you're following us, our YouTube, our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. David, you said it so much more eloquently and smoother than I am right now. But guys, seriously, thank you so much for everything that you've done for us, just supporting us over the last 9 years. And we are ready to keep bringing you even better content here down the line. Back to some of these comments, guys, and some of your thoughts. I don't want to cut you guys. I know I cut you guys off earlier, but Beth right here, great show. Glad you're going to late work because of the game. Hey, worth it. Paula, you've been a long-time supporter. Thank you so much. We made it through all of the, oh my gosh, it's mid-November and we have nothing to talk about except for the draft. Because that's all we have to look forward to. We need to play like we did. Here we go, Joel. And here's the thing I'm bringing back to you guys. Not to spoil the pregame podcast we're going to be talking about on Tuesday's show or anything, but again, it goes back to the dog in Bo Nix. It goes back to the fight that this team has. And it's so great to see that these guys are willing to just go out there and play lights out all game long, even against the starters. How about Jared Stidham going out there and rushing for a first down himself to help close? Did you guys, I'm not sure if you saw it on the TV, but we saw it on our stands or on the big screen there. The smile he had. I mean, I think that was the first time he'd been playing in a game all season. Yeah, I mean, he's proud of being on this team, So how about this guy going out there and be like, I'm going to go get the first down if no one else is open. Hey, it was so great to see.
Isn't 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗁 backup for the
Mitch 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗁?
Mitch 𝗕𝗿𝗁 is the backup for the Pro Bowl, guys. I don't know if you caught that this week.
Yeah, we're gonna get Sean in
big
here
guy
on Tuesday.
Yeah. Where's our 𝗕𝗿𝗵𝗁 guy?
Come on.
Yeah, Sean's not here, but Sean always gives a shout out to the long snapper, and which is a good thing because let me ask you this: who was the long snapper the year we won the Super Bowl 9 years ago? I couldn't tell you.
It was right? Somebody who has been with us with a while.
Aaron Brewer.
Right. Name literally any long snapper ever.
Ever, right?
Okay.
The only reason I know Mitch 𝗕𝗿𝗁 is because of Sean, who keeps posting about it in our show. Huge shout out to him for making the alternate list of the Pro Bowl. Big time.
I want to steal the subject one more time.
Do it.
Because I know we want to talk about all these other things, but I want to talk about Patrick Surtain II being the leader, defensive player of the year. And does anybody remember the last time a cornerback won defensive player of the year?
Was it?
No, we talked about it on the tailgate talk, but I think there's been 5 total.
Six total, I think, right?
I believe the last time was 2009.
Yeah.
And who was that?
Was it Woodson?
I think it was Rod Woodson.
I mean, one of our fans was somebody out there. Like we can definitely look this out. It's the man on the team that we know who's good, but we don't talk about very much. We 100% don't talk about him. I don't know ever, and that's probably the best thing that you can do about a corner. And the man is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't remember when's the last time a Bronco did Vaughn win Player of the Year.
I don't think so.
No, he didn't.
Other than MVP, I don't think that's.
He got Super Bowl MVP, but he didn't win DPOY.
Hey, shout out to Patrick Surtain. Shout out to Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, he's leading the polls, but I still feel like it's really hard for a corner to win Defensive Player of the Year, only because when you look at stats, right? Like it's hard to look at stats and say this guy is the guy, right? When you're talking about edge rushers, talk about sacks and pressures and all the other stuff, like those are all statistically proven stuff. It's hard to say when like, hey, teams literally don't throw to your side because you are so good. And I'm glad that he's winning and he's leading in the polls, but it's going to be really hard. Like if you would have got a pick today, like, yeah, absolutely. And he played well, obviously every year, every week he plays super well. And he is the number one corner by a lot in the league.
There.
But I think this year,
Jody.
I
Yep.
think
yeah.
I think this year they've really given a little bit more credence to how well he's played against number one receivers and the lack of stats that they've put up on him. And I think there's been more attention to that paid this year than there has been sometimes in years past.
Also, this wasn't a crazy year for edge rushers.
Right.
I believe Trey Hendrickson is going to end up being the sack leader for the year at 16.5. That's not like blow off the top of your head when it comes to sacks, right? Like we're talking about 20, 19, 21, 22. Those kind of guys tend to those years are like, then edge rusher should win it. And Trey didn't do a whole lot besides pressures and sacks. And that's for a team that didn't even make the playoffs. So I'm just saying, like even TJ Watt this year, this is a historically down year, and that guy led the league in forced fumbles.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I'm sorry, I just got distracted by Sunday Night Football. I just saw Sam Darnold's stats for the year so far. 35. But this is what we're talking about because he's got 4,000 passing yards, great. But he's got 35 touchdowns. Bo Nix is 34 total touchdowns. I get rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. 12 interceptions, same total. Boy, it's really hard not to be excited about the future of this franchise. Sorry for that kind of non sequitur there.
Well, here's the Timmy Patrick on the Lions, and I'm really hoping they go the distance just for him.
Hell yeah.
Timmy P, man.
Absolutely.
Almost got his jersey. I'm glad I didn't, but I almost got his jersey.
Yeah.
Sad for Justin, guys. I'm really sad for Justin. He's on another team that is going to barely miss the playoffs. So Justin Simmons has an incredible career, and he has still yet to go to the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah, that is nuts.
Yeah, he's going to retire as a Bronco. He's going to come back. Like no doubt about it. Mad respect for him. Hopefully, they do make it in the playoffs here in the next, several years so that he gets that experience because he definitely deserves it.
Penix looks good.
He does. He does. And that's going to be an interesting guy to watch as he develops as well. I think you guys mentioned it earlier in the show. In fact, I know you did. I heard it. Isn't it crazy to actually be able to sit here and say this team, the ceiling is sky high? Like, seriously, if you ask me where the ceiling is for this team, I don't know if I could tell you. Like, looking at the Chargers, I'm like, okay, they got a new head coach, and like maybe they could do a little bit better, but you're basically seeing the best the Chargers are probably going to like essentially do on average over Herbert's career. But for the Broncos, like, I don't know what the ceiling is for this team.
Chargers going to charge.
Chargers going to charge.
But we're at the bottom of the J curve.
Yeah,
like we're just on the edge of the J curve, and like that is an interesting place to be. New head coach, new quarterback, young offense, young, defense ish, right? Like not super young, but youngish, and we are on our way up. Like there's no better place to be.
That's a nerdy comment. I'd expect that of David, Jared.
I think Jared likes J curve because his name starts with J, and I think I'm pretty sure that.
I just wanted to say that. I googled it before the show.
Yeah. You've been saying a lot of big words. You're just trying to one up David.
Story of our high school career. Why wouldn't it continue?
I mean, facts. Just saying.
Yeah, but.
Oh man,
but
love you, Jared.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, you said it, Kev. Like, what's the ceiling? I don't think you can say right now because the ceiling for this team is what can 𝗕𝗿cie become. And I have no fucking idea right now. Like what I saw out of his season on just watching every game unfold versus what you saw in college, right? There is definitely that element of this Oregon offense limits quarterbacks and limits how you can project them. It happened with Justin Herbert, and I think it happened again with 𝗕𝗿cie. Yes, there is a definite, I think, evidence on tape to suggest that the short throws are what he likes to default to the most. But there's also plenty of evidence on tape for the entire year that he can make every NFL throw that you want him to make. Like,
especially the last 2 weeks. Especially the last 2 weeks.
Cortland, I think it was a 3rd and 15 or 14 or something like that.
3rd and 14.
Right. Yeah. You know, go balls, seam routes, dig routes, sail routes. He can throw every ball you want him to throw. And so now it's a question of how consistently can he do it when you need him to do it. And I don't know where the ceiling on that is right now. So Kev, to me, that's why I don't think you can answer that question right now.
Yeah. That's a crazy question to ask, considering we can't answer it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well, and guys, I understand. I think I think we can concede offensive player of the year or offensive rookie of the year to Jayden Daniels right now. And whatever. He led that team to 12 wins. I think you give them their flowers and you say, well played to you. Yeah. But to have a Broncos quarterback be in the discussion for as long as he was and to end the season with the stats that he did, I don't see an argument for not being encouraged. Like, I don't see it.
No. Being 3 weeks in a row rookie of the week, or at least AFC rookie of the week, like, yeah. You know, I get Jayden Daniels got 11 weeks out of the season, but look, Bo got at least 4, and then 3 in a row. I don't know if those were his only 3. It might have been, but either way, like, that says a lot. And you're right, like, this guy, he can throw the ball. Just go back to that pass to Mims against Cleveland. You know, the way he threaded that needle. If he can do that more consistently and get that confidence, I think there's still some confidence there where he wants to protect the football versus take that shot down the field. But you get him that confidence, you build his arm strength up a little bit more. And what can't he do?
He was big dicking it all over the field today. That Big Nick's energy was there today. That Sutton touchdown, like that ball, I don't know that he had any business throwing that ball to Sutton on that touchdown pass, but he rifled it in there anyway. And Cortland just he put credit to him because he put it in a spot in an incredibly tight window where his wide receiver had the best play on the ball, I think. But that margin of error on that throw was real thin. And he is not afraid to do what he wants to goddamn do with that ball.
Yeah. No.
Not mad at it. I mean, I'm pretty sure the first incompletion would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, it would have. It absolutely would have been. Yeah.
And I wrote something in the comment about it being an underthrow, and it's at this point, and when it comes to a lot of the things that Bo's done, it's very nitpicky. It is very nitpicky. Okay, we've got veteran quarterbacks that are going into the game right now, and they're not doing what Bo is doing. Okay, even in his quote unquote forced throws. Okay, or quote unquote when he gets happy feet, and is a guy who's been in the NFL for not even a year. It's still not a year. That's something to think about, and we know that he's a gym rat. Okay, it's not like a Jamarcus Russell situation where they gave him a playbook and a videotape and he never watched it. Okay, we know Bo's coming in every day except for Sunday to watch clips. Okay, so I think that's one of the most exciting things about it. And I'm more excited about the future of the Broncos than I am about the playoff situation that we are right now.
Do you think on his days off on Sunday, he's literally not doing anything? Even on his days off, he's at home doing stuff.
Watching something.
You know?
Yeah. And Todd.
Really quickly here. Yeah, Todd.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just to Todd, because no, Todd, nobody who works at Orange Weekly, nobody who comments on Orange Weekly, nobody who has watched Orange Weekly casually, I believe, thought the Broncos were going to win this one 38-0, and so nobody correctly predicted the score before this game.
No, I think that was a surprise for everybody, and ultimately, I think it's a happy surprise for everybody. 38-0, like. I mean, I don't think anybody's predicted that Broncos were going to score 38, let alone do a shutout. So happy.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter, all these, fans and, the analysts who get asked for their score predictions. I saw some in the 30s and I was like, I would love that. Seems optimistic to me.
Right.
But yeah, no, expectations were exceeded. And Jerry, welcome to the show. Team Puffball for life, and Team Puffball heartily recommends the Broncos Country Breckenridge Bourbon Blend.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't know what the bourbon tastes like. I stopped tasting it a little while ago.
Sure.
Now it's just delicious.
I can't
it tastes like victory. It tastes like playoffs.
That's
all the championship blend for a reason.
Damn right.
It tastes like 9 years of drought has left my body.
Moist in here, boys. It's real moist in here.
Uh-oh.
Are there any monkeys left on our back? We've got a quarterback, we've got our head coach, we beat the Chiefs, we beat the Raiders, we're in the playoffs.
Sorry, Kev, your internet is like I don't know what
internet's cutting out on us.
It's not so great.
Yeah. Your internet was the freaking Falcons today. It just fell apart at the end.
Yeah, it was the Chiefs defense trying to fit the run today. It was a little bit.
I'll say this. I'm gonna head off.
I was making a really good point too.
I'm sure you were, Kev.
Yeah, it might be. Go ahead,
I was gonna say I'm gonna head off. I appreciate you guys being here again. I gave the story of Orange Weekly before Kevin Spotty got on. Super happy to be here. 9 years, Kev. It's been a long time coming for us. We started this thing 9 years ago with 20. We had one viewer at a time. We were just kind of wanted to talk Broncos with people that weren't in the Denver area. We built this thing. I'm super happy to be here. We're going to do our first ever post-season shows, post-season Bourbon Broncos No BS, post-season podcasts. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for where we are as Broncos country. I'm so excited where we are with Orange Weekly. Thank you for the fans to follow us. I am going to head off. I do also have work tomorrow, unfortunately. So thank you guys so much for doing this with us. Kevin, thank you so much for starting this with me back in 9 years ago when we were in your cold ass house. You kept your house at 20 degrees because you missed Colorado. But
accurate.
But appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys so much, and cheers. And I'm gonna end it.
Cheers.
I'm gonna send it off with the Ghost Broncos.
Cheers. Thanks, Jared. Buddy. Appreciate everything you've done too, man. Get some sleep, man.
Good night. Yep.
Guys,
we're
seeing a lot of news, and Spotty will jump off in a bit too. But
yeah, no, it's probably about time I think it's probably about time to wrap it up.
Right? Well,
yeah, we gotta save something. So let's do this. We'll do some closing thoughts here in a second. I'll do some announcements really quickly, guys. First off, tomorrow night, Monday night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, we'll be doing the post-game show. We'll basically be breaking down the game and just, again, reveling in the situation that we're in. Tuesday is where we start to get serious. We'll finish recapping this game against the Chiefs, and then we'll start looking to, okay, we got a game coming up against the Bills in Buffalo. Weather looks cold, probably about as cold as it was today. And we'll start talking about what can the Broncos do to come away with a victory. And a surprising victory, but it's definitely possible with this team. So make sure you join us Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time for Bourbon Broncos No BS. And then just make sure you're following us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all those places so you can see the notifications of when we go live. And if you haven't seen this before, you're watching us for the first time tonight, you see how interactive we are with you guys. That's what we do. We try to be incredibly interactive with the comments, and we talk about the Broncos amongst each other all the time. So it's a little bit of a good breakup to be able to talk to you guys and hear what your thoughts are. So make sure you are there, just like Paul says, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time as well. And then, guys, I know I'm going to listen to every second of your pregame, first off, playoff
first ever
pregame podcast. That'll be on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you watch out for that. It'll be uploaded by Friday evening, I'm guessing, whenever you guys record or whatever. But you guys are going to want to check that out. And then we'll continue our standard game day activity of 1 hour before kickoff, our tailgate talk show, first ever postseason one of that. We'll continue the score prediction challenge. We're trying to give away a Broncos jersey and our halftime hash show as well. And we'll just leave it at that for now. We'll see what happens from there. And then also don't forget, keep an eye out for when we announce our fan appreciation episode sometime before mid-February.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that and giving away a ton of Broncos prizes and seriously just sitting down and thanking you guys for all of your support. I will say this, I mean, kind of to brag and not to really throw shade at anyone else, but we are the only podcast I have ever seen do a fan appreciation type of episode. And it's seriously because we appreciate you guys. Free Broncos swag, just come hang out with us, have a good time. And this is going to be absolutely a fun week, to say the least. Because the expectations for us, like you said, we're playing with house money, and let's just go out there and see what the Broncos can do in a playoff type of setting and let them get that experience as they continue to grow. And that's just going to have huge implications for us down the line. So seriously, thank you all, guys. Let's start doing some closing thoughts as we wrap up here. I know I've already had more whiskey than I've had in a while. David, over to you first, man. Let's do some closing thoughts, buddy.
Well, first I want to shout out Jose. We've got Terry. We've got Paul. Everybody's confirming it. Yes, the Broncos will play CBS 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday afternoon. So we at least get the benefit of a full week before we have to play that next game.
Afternoon for them.
Afternoon for them, morning if you are in Colorado. And guys, if you have a Paramount Plus subscription, you will also be able to watch that game with your subscription on any of your devices. Guys, we are talking about Broncos playoffs. It is it's such an interesting time. I want to shout. I want to eat a little bit of crow. That's what I want to do for my final thoughts. Because guys, before the season started, and certainly I think before 2023, I had some questions about George Paton and his ability as a general manager, his ability to draft. And I need to eat a little bit of crow here because he has really built some important pieces into this team. You talk about guys like Riley Moss, Nick Bonito, and you talk about contracts like Mike McGlinchey, who you thought, you saw that contract before last season and you thought, man, is that an overpay? And then you watch him play this season and be one of the best right tackles in the NFL in both pass protection and the run game. And you have to give credit to Peyton. I know with Sean Payton in there, the dynamic is a little bit different right now, but his ability to scout players, his ability to build up the bottom half of this roster and these tiers of this roster that are so important to a playoff team, just hats off to him.
Love it, man. Spotty, what you got for us, dude?
In my final thoughts, I want to tell a little story. So for you, some of you who don't know about me, my family, we moved to Colorado in 1995, and which was like the heyday of Broncos football, Avalanche, everything, right? So I got thrust into probably one of the best times to be a Denver sports fan that there is. And all I knew was winning for like the longest time. And then we get to the pinnacle, which is the 2015 Super Bowl. And then we have the most down time that I've ever seen. Like, I mean, up to 2015, the Broncos had more Super Bowl losses than they had losing seasons. But like, I feel like the true heart of a fan is those that are watched those years from 2015 to 2024 and they stay with the team. Like, you feel this right now. Like, I never felt this before. Like, people go to an airport wearing Broncos gear and people kind of harp on me for being a Broncos fan, or, those that work with me harping on me a Broncos fan. So there's a certain feeling of satisfaction to know that this team who was not supposed to be here, that's not supposed to be playing the way that they're playing, that is it overachieved and making every Broncos fan out there super happy. I have never had to get that feeling before. So I feel like this playoffs, whether we lose or win next week, is probably one of the most satisfying feeling as a Broncos fan in a long time. So I'm super happy that we got here. I'm super happy that we're doing the things that we're doing right now, because I feel like those that got to stick around are really the true fans. So cheers to all the other fans out there who had to do it a lot longer than I did before then. So honestly, just, go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Well said to both of you guys. Look, I could reiterate everything you just said, but I'm just going to boil it down to, again, this team knows how to play for each other. The big thing going into this season was, do we have a coach that we're going to stick with? But bigger than that, do we have a quarterback that we can build the team around? And that was really the only question we wanted answered. We saw all of the Broncos are going to be the worst team in the league. They're probably going to be a top 5 pick, maybe 5.5, 5 to 6 wins. Like, that's the best this team is going to do. And here we are, guys. Like, they have shut everybody up, every critic that, they could keep throwing shade at the Broncos, but they deserve to be here. They won the games they were supposed to win. They stole a couple others, and that is way more than what is expected of a first team and a rebuild with a rookie quarterback, that a lot of people basically were laughing at us for picking Bo Nix where we did. I'm saying that we overvalued him. He was a second-round pick at best, and there's probably some teams out there right now that are saying, man, I wish I had a guy that could throw for the longest air passage,
Raiders
in NFL. Yeah, what? Exactly. Exactly, Jerry. They're coming alive. And that's the thing. We've been waiting for this team that has just looked dead year in and year out. And they are, look, as much as we're celebrating, they're celebrating just as much. How good do you think Courtland Sutton feels right now? Yeah. Garrett Bowles, who a couple years ago was just saying, all I've done on this team is lose. And here they are getting to go to play in the playoffs. You don't think those guys are going to go out there and bring the energy to the max? Man, I'm saying, like, look, Buffalo, we got them last year. They had better not be sleeping on us. They better not be thinking, oh, that was a fluke last year. We can take care of these guys. Maybe they can. But that doesn't mean that team's not going to fight until the very end. They're not going to use every opportunity they have to come away and steal yet another win and just make a name for themselves. They've been the underdog in almost every freaking game this year. And so these guys know what it feels like to be the underdog, to go play in a hostile environment. We'll see what happens. But either way, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be even more fun because we get to share it with you guys. So, man, Clayton, I sure am. Bo Nix close to 4,000 passing yards, said 500 rushing. He has 450 some. Let's go. And with our D, definitely everything there. I definitely want to go back and look at this, Paul. I didn't see it yet. Bowles had a cool presser. I can only imagine. Put Bowles up on the stand, put Courtland Sutton on the stand, and see what he has to say. But guys, make sure you're following us for all of our other content this week as we get ready for our first ever postseason show content here at Bourbon Broncos No BS. David and Spotty, thank you so much. You guys have been sticking with us. Spotty, I know it's only your second year, but man, you've been a great addition to the crew. And Jared said earlier, thank you so much. Just this has been a blast. So everything we've been working towards is finally here. And so let's get ready for it, guys.
Absolutely.
With that, guys, I got nothing left to say other than to end this thing as we always do on a very strong Go Broncos! We will see you guys later. Take care.
is right, and I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go.